Having had a good visit in Massachusetts, it's now time to head home to our headquarters in Rockford, Illinois. There we'll visit with Zip Rockford and just observe the guides as they do a couple of groups, maintaining their safety practices, looking at their customer service, and just overall customer satisfaction. We also got a call to have a feature from a local TV station. So here we have Austin Love out doing an interview and going to feature Zip Rockford on the evening news. Hi folks, we're here now at Zip Rockford. We've got Aaron Love from WRDX TV channel 13. He does the morning show, and he's here today with our staff to do the whole Zipline tour, videotape it, GoPro it, and put us on TV. Without that kind of local support, it'd be hard to get an anchor holding business. So we really appreciate Austin coming out this morning. So he's getting introductions now from Skylar. I got Emily and Michelle. Shout out to Brian and Spencer. They're gonna take him through the course, and they're gonna show him what ziplining is all about. He's acting all cool, calm, and collected, but I can tell through his eyes, he's starting to question what he just signed up for.
Now it's really important for me to take the opportunity here and monitor my guides. They've got to be following proper training, their fall protection safety systems at all times, and I'm also going to correct any kind of bad habits or sloppy procedures I may see along the way. You've got guests and yourself at height. You've got to get every clip in perfect every single time. There is no room for errors.
No rest for the weary. It's back in the car, 1,800 miles back out to Idaho. We're going to stop at Zip Boise real quick, check in with Ben, Olivia, and the staff there, make sure tours are going great. But then it's all the way up to Tamarack, Idaho to wrap up for the season. Along the way, we had a little extra time, so we stopped and see the Oregon Trail again. And as you can see, we tried out our first Anka cam. Boy, she likes those weeds. So here the intern and I took some time in the museum at Glenn's Ferry, Idaho, and looked at what the pioneers that crossed the Oregon Trail had to work with.
Now we're at the ski resort, and we've
got the strong sensation this is our last season. So the staff were taking in the views, walking the quiet trails, and just kind of observing the critters of the area. It's time to stop and smell some roses. Here's the local red fox. And also we found Rocky Mountain lobsters in our parking lot. Well, compliments of FedEx, of course. Then with the fall comes the annual herding of the sheep down the mountain. I also got time to be in the office, visit with the staff, kind of do some decompressing.
2, 3. Yeah!
So we got to take in some views. I want to make sure we were checking the van, doing it for service. But it also made me stop and reflect about how we had to build this course. We had to bring in dynamite and blow rocks out of the way, build down the side of a mountain. It was just an arduous but excellent build all at the same time. So here we are erecting the first tripod to support a zipline structure. First for us, and we might have been the first in the United States to do so. Digging down to bedrock, taking pictures of the building department. It's very important to chronicle a build, so you always know what it's supposed to look like. We did rock pinning, digging holes, poles, and here's the first zip line into the ponderosa pine tree, 120 feet off the ground, affectionately known as the tree house. Look at Pepper flying out half the deck off his hip. Now it's time to dig the 9-foot deep holes to pour our concrete pads, which will be the future location for a 4-pole tower for zip lines. But here my crew is working hard getting that tower started, and as you can see, when you're on the side of a mountain, it's hard to get the pole square. So my carpenters, as you can see, did a nice job getting things looking pretty. Not to mention that gorgeous view. The problem with that gorgeous view is now winter is upon us, and it's beginning to snowfall deep and heavy on our project sites. As you can see, my crew is doing their best to chip away at the ice, but we now have to call it quits and use the snowcats to tow our equipment and trucks out of the snow so we can get off the mountain. But at the base area, we wrapped up our low decks, and back in 2006, those things were pretty and state-of-the-art. As we back off a little bit, you can see just how well they blend into the overall cosmetics of the resort. So after 6 years of using the course, even though the resort's all unchartered and bankruptcy and has no money, we have to do repairs to the course and loosen up some of that metal hardware to allow the trees to breathe. So we're gonna swap out the hardware and switch it out to a different technique called blocking the tree, which is softer on the cambium and also helps the tree breathe and expand more naturally. Let's watch Nick here with his great customer service. I always love how Nick takes the time, explains to the guests what to expect, and even while they watch the first guest zip across, he always takes the time to do additional coaching. That's the way to take care of customers.
You'll be able to touch in that last 5 feet, 6 feet.
Hi, Steve.
And here's our Stephanie, our nice Stephanie office person. But she's more than that. She was morale booster, always had a smile on her face, helped on the course, drove the van. She pitched in and did anything and everything possible to help the company. Love her to death, lost her to Washington and another business, but hopefully someday we'll get her back on our team. Let's watch the guests zip by on number 8.
Now it's time to head on down to Zip Boise for a quick day trip and to do a small project.
I hear the ATV's got a dead battery. So there I am with the intern, ready to jump it, and oh, wait a minute. Did you put your foot on the brake? Oh, no. Well, there it goes. That solves the problem. We had reports of some people poaching our zip lines, so here the intern and I are doing an easy project. Just going to add a security door to the stairs so we can lock it off.
Now, unauthorized access is a huge liability for me. So I need to protect the business asset and protect people from their own stupidity.
Let's watch Olivia go ahead and test the zip line and see how things are working. Here's Lauren and Ben doing a double race in. Okay, back in the car and off to our corporate headquarters in Rockford, Illinois for Zip Rockford. We're going to go ahead here and watch a large group of 25 go through the zip line. We've got extra staff on the course for safety measures and to help keep the traffic pattern moving through. As you can see, they're having a great time.
Yeah!
Now we're going to venture down to Mobile, Alabama, where we've got a client looking to do a zip line at a local memorial park where the USS Alabama is located. We did some walking around the grounds, checking things out, and I found myself more in awe of the planes and the submarines and the boats. I should say vessels. These things were enormous.
As I visit this memorial park, I can't help but think about all the sacrifices the men and women of the armed services made for the liberties and freedom of our country. From the bottom of my heart, thank you.
Hi folks, well you caught me on the road again, doing another site visit. I'm I'm down here in Mobile, Alabama. I've been told to emphasize the second syllable. But I'm down here in the Memorial Park with the USS Alabama. And right here I'm standing at the wheel well of the Calamity Jane. It's a B-52D bomber from World War II. And it's here on display. And what a magnificent aircraft this is. I mean, these tires, they're at least 4 foot big, just each one of them. Sturdy struts and hydraulics. If we're down here and we actually work with this client, we're going to be really satisfied and be happy to be part of giving back and remembering the people who have helped serve and save our country, so we have the fortune that we have today. Oh my gosh, do you see what's over my shoulder? This is the USS Drum, a submarine. Look at how enormous this submarine is. I mean, I'm a pretty big guy, but I'm a pencil compared to this thing. Check it out. We're here at Fort Condy in Mobile, Alabama. It's a replicated fort of what used to protect this harbor in this area. These are simulated but look authentic cannons, and they actually do firing shows. They have a museum here, and it's really rich in the history of how this used to be a fort. So if you're ever down in Mobile, not only come check out our zip lines down here, but you gotta come by and check out this fort. This place is amazing. Skyline behind me, City Hall, the harbor and the port to my left. Gotta come check it out. Okay, time to fly back down to Orlando and check in with Tony, Mike, and Veronica. Let's see how they're doing.
So my visit down to Zip Orlando this week is because we've got some damage going on at the poles. Evidently we've got some woodpeckers hitting on the course. So now we have
some woodpecker damage in the poles. So I'm going to take the time to do the patchwork with a compound, a 2-part epoxy, but also going to spend time with Tony and Mike explaining how and why we repair the poles, how the compound works, and also going to steal some time away with Tony to explain an inspection of the course, looking at superficial rust versus pitted rust, and other concerns of the course to keep it operating smoothly, efficiently, and strong. Again, Zip Orlando is built on a 5,000-acre private estate, an 8th generation cattle farm. And it's also the floodwaters or swamp area, if you will, for water flood overflow for the Orlando area. Here, Mike and Tony are getting their gear on, ready to go on the course. I'm also inspecting them for their 4-H's. I'm going to go ahead and set the bucket truck up and get it ready to go on the course with all our tools. And then take the time to explain to Mike fall protection and the differences of being on the course versus being in a static bucket truck. Take a big hard fall, it expands and tears out up to 4 feet and absorbs the energy for your body. And then these are your carabiners you use over your shoulder. So seriously watch your bling around your neck. You're tucking in your shirt. Here I'm explaining to Mike some safety nuances and differences between being on the course and being in a man-made bucket truck. While there's a lot of similarities, there's also some very distinct differences which we must address. Come on, baby. While driving these man lifts are always kind of fun, sometimes they're not in the best shape.
It's like a rodeo.
This one was either super slow or super fast. Here's a great look at the woodpecker hole we have to repair on the course.
Well, no, the holes aren't connected and they don't go up or down, they just go straight deep.
Again, some final instruction for Mike and Tony. Now I'm going to fly Tony up, position him on the deck over our heads, looking out for safety. He's going to do some more inspection work for us. Then I'm going to fly back down, get Mike in the bucket, and then he and I are going to go up and start applying the epoxy and prepping the pole to repair it.
Indent, but the shearing of that pole is like over 100,000 pounds. It's not going to happen. And this kind of rust here, the cable,
As they say, welcome to my office.
So that's fine.
Now it's time to fly down, get Mike, position him up at the pole, and start to explain what we're going to do and how we're going to do it. Along with explaining the process, we're going to talk about the fall protection. And again, more nuanced differences between something that gives and you fall versus falling and arresting your fall from a stiff, non-moving object. Kind of gruesome, but some good information to have to help keep yourself safe.
Energy absorption, because when you fall, your mass times the speed and your distance can double or triple or even more, amplify your load forces of your body weight into your internal organs. So if you fall on a cable, it's got some deflection, it kind of absorbs it, it's like soft. That's the energy from the fall being absorbed into the system. But when we're working out of a basket lift or hooking into the poles directly, there's no give. So if we were to, let's say, fall out of a basket, or we fell in some way, when we fall, all the energy then goes into your torso. And around 1,100 pounds, your spleen and liver and all your innards start to separate and start to scramble eggs. So this is a brand called Absorb.
You always have to mind your safety whenever you're on a zipline tour or working at heights. All it takes is one slip and you can find yourself in a world of hurt. Safety briefings and taking time to explain things through with your staff is such a critical component of their professional development and just overall well-being. You've got to take time. Invest in your people, they'll invest back in you.
To absorb the energy that your body created during the fall. So it's a one-time use and you throw it away. But it starts to rip out around 450 pounds. And I've taken a fall at 450 and it hurts. I've taken other falls where things have deployed a bit and I didn't even feel it. I'm like, really?
As I review back and think about training Mike and Tony on these safety equipment and expectations that's upon them for safety, it also helps me hone my skills and remember as well. Because sometimes I always have frequency, opportunity, and complacency working against me, and that's the recipe for an accident. So to slow down and explain to them how to be safe is also a good measure for me to practice as well.
All right. Also, on our guide harnesses, we also do the cinch-in at the waist, so there's nothing can be undone there. Well, we need to be on a carabiner connection here, and
let's just listen in for a while as Steve talks to Mike and Tony and get going on the safety again, and also on how to operate the man lift and also apply the compound to repair the woodpecker hole.
So the requirements for now you as a guide on fall protection for a tour is different from what I'm going to work.
Here Mike and I are flying into the position for the woodpecker hole. I'm explaining to him distance, looking at your work zone, minding your safety gear, how not to get yourself tangled up in a small operating bucket of the machine, and just overall maintenance and project management.
For me, I'm going to have it working off my left hip so it doesn't impede. Always take care of your safety gear because this is going to be taking care of you, right? Okay. So keeping your work zone is equally as important, clean and safe as it is doing the job. All right? Because you never want to fall farther than you have to. So we're going to put in, this is a woodpecker damage, we're going to put in what's called pecker patch, and it's a compound, it's epoxy, two-part epoxy, that fills that void, it bonds to the wood, and then when it's done, it retains the compressional force again. And then also the woodpecker, what he was trying to get at, is sealed off. So what we got to do is you have to seal off that hole.
While this may look easy to most, when you're in a bucket truck about 40 feet off the ground, your attention's always heightened. And anytime you do a move, the bucket swings back and forth a foot or two. So you're always cognizant of your location, and at any time something could go wrong. A lot of folks think once you build a course, you just kind of run it and make money. But after course ages 5, 6, 7 years, there's going to be ongoing maintenance. And again, that's why I'm down here every year to do an inspection, help Tony and Mike and Veronica do the repairs, and then the state comes out with an engineer and does surprise visits twice more a year. That way we don't miss anything and we don't have any blind spots for safety.